Dad perfect events. At 72, I decided to give everything to my wife during our divorce. My lawyer begged me to stop, but I signed those papers with a smile. Nobody knew I'd already won the case before her lawyer even finished reading the documents. I'm Harold Mitchell, and I'm glad you're here with me. Let me tell you how a 72-year-old man turned the tables on a cheating wife who thought she could steal everything I'd worked for. For 45 years, I believed I knew my wife, Dorothy. We built our life together from nothing, a modest house in Connecticut, 2 kids we raised right, and a small auto parts business that grew into something we could be proud of. I thought we'd spend our golden years enjoying what we'd earned together. But life has a way of showing you the truth when you least expect it. It started with little things that didn't make sense. Dorothy began working late more often at her office job downtown. She'd come home smelling of perfume that wasn't hers, something floral and young that made my stomach turn. When I asked about it, she'd wave me off and say it was from a client meeting. Her phone, once carelessly left on the kitchen counter next to the coffee maker, now lived permanently in her purse. Password protected. The changes were subtle at first. She'd shower immediately when she got home, even on days when she claimed to have been stuck in meetings all afternoon. Her work clothes would go straight into the hamper, never draped over the bedroom chair like they used to be. She started buying new underwear, lacy things I'd never seen before, claiming her old ones were wearing out. "Dorothy, are you seeing someone?" I finally asked her one evening over dinner. We were sitting at our kitchen table, the same one where we'd eaten thousands of meals together, where we'd helped our kids with homework, where we'd planned our future. She looked at me with those brown eyes that once made me feel like the luckiest man alive. "Harold, don't be ridiculous. I'm 68 years old. Who would I be seeing?" She laughed, but it sounded forced, nervous. "You're being paranoid." I wanted to believe her, God, how I wanted to believe her. But then came the credit card statements, and everything started falling apart. Charges at expensive restaurants I'd never been to, places with names like Chez Laurent and the Metropolitan Grill. Hotel rooms downtown when she claimed to be at work conferences that I'd never heard her mention before. Jewelry purchases from stores I couldn't pronounce, items that never appeared in her jewelry box. I sat at our kitchen table one Tuesday morning in early March, coffee growing cold beside me, hands shaking as I spread out the statements and added up the numbers. The morning sun was streaming through the window, hitting the papers and making the evidence impossible to ignore. Thousands of dollars, tens of thousands. How long had this been going on? The breaking point came on a Thursday when I found a birthday card in her coat pocket while taking it to the dry cleaner. She'd asked me to drop it off on my way to the hardware store, something I'd done 100 times before without thinking twice. As I checked the pockets for tissues or receipts, my fingers found the envelope. "To my darling Dorothy, thank you for making me feel young again. Forever yours, Linda." There was a lipstick kiss at the bottom, bright red against the cream-colored paper. My hands trembled as I read it again and again, hoping the words might change, that I was somehow misunderstanding what I was seeing. Linda, her name was Linda. The perfume, the late nights, the mysterious charges, it all suddenly made horrible sense. That evening, I confronted her. No more hints, no more careful questions dancing around the truth. I waited until after dinner, until we'd finished the dishes and settled into our usual routine. The house was quiet except for the ticking of the grandfather clock in the hallway. I placed that card right on the coffee table between us, right next to her evening tea. "Who is she, Dorothy?" Her face went through a series of changes I'd never seen before, first white as paper, then deep red like she'd been slapped. For a moment, I saw something I'd never seen in 45 years of marriage, pure panic. Her eyes darted to the card, then back to my face, then to the card again. But the panic quickly transformed into something much worse. Cold determination. "I want a divorce," she said flatly, her voice steady and emotionless. "I've already talked to my lawyer." Just like that. 45 years of marriage, of building a life together, dismissed in one sentence. No explanation, no apology, no attempt to work things out, just cold, calculated finality. "We can split things fairly." I started, my voice barely above a whisper, but she cut me off with a wave of her hand.
"Fair?"
She laughed, a sound completely without humor. "Harold, the business is in my name. The house is in my name. I've been very careful about that over the years. You'll get what I decide to give you." I felt like the ground was shifting under my feet, like the world I'd known for nearly half a century was crumbling around me. "Dorothy, I helped build that business from nothing. I worked there for 25 years before you convinced me to step back and enjoy retirement. You were never officially on payroll for most of it, she said, examining her fingernails like we were discussing the weather. Good luck proving your contribution in court. She stood up from her chair, smoothing her skirt with practiced movements. My lawyer will contact you tomorrow. I suggest you get one too. She packed a bag that night and left. I watched from the bedroom window as she loaded her suitcase into her car. The same car we'd bought together 2 years ago to celebrate her retirement. She didn't look back at the house, didn't wave, didn't acknowledge the end of everything we'd built. She just drove away, and that was the last time I saw her as my wife. 3 weeks later, I sat in my first lawyer's office on Main Street, surrounded by law books and certificates that should have made me feel confident, but somehow didn't. Eugene Parker had been recommended by our daughter Barbara. He was a decent man in his 50s, with kind eyes and a gentle manner. But as he reviewed Dorothy's proposed settlement with growing alarm, I could see he was out of his league. "Mr. Mitchell, this is highway robbery," he said, looking up from the papers spread across his mahogany desk. "She's offering you $50,000 and the furniture. That's it. The business is worth at least $2 million, and the house is worth $800,000. I stared at the number on the page. $50,000. After 45 years of marriage, after building a business from nothing, after raising 2 children and creating a life together, she thought I was worth $50,000. "What are my chances if we fight?" I asked quietly, my voice sounding hollow in the wood-paneled office. Eugene hesitated, shuffling the papers nervously. "Honestly, it's tough. She restructured everything very carefully over the years. The business is in her name only. The house is in her name. You stopped working there 15 years ago when you retired. Connecticut law would give you something, but proving your contribution after all this time. It could take years in court, cost a fortune in legal fees, and you might end up with less than if you just. What if I sign?" I interrupted. Eugene stared at me like I'd just suggested jumping off a cliff. "I'm sorry, what? What if I agree to her terms, just sign everything over?" "Mr. Mitchell, I strongly advise against that. Please think about your future. Where will you live? How will you support yourself on $50,000? That's not even enough for a down payment on a decent apartment these days, but I was already reaching for the pen. Across the conference table, I saw the exact moment Dorothy's lawyer, Carol Davis, realized what I was doing. She was a sharp-dressed woman in her 40s with calculating eyes, and she tried to hide her smile behind her hand. But I caught it. "Are you certain about this?" Eugene asked desperately, his voice rising with panic. "This is irreversible. Once you sign these documents." I signed the last page and looked up with a smile that confused everyone in the room. "Don't worry, Eugene," I said softly, my voice calm and steady. "I know exactly what I'm doing. Nobody knew I'd already won. They just didn't realize it yet." I left Eugene's office and sat in my old Ford pickup in the parking lot for 20 minutes before I could turn the key. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely grip the steering wheel. What had I just done? I'd signed away everything. My home, my security, my future. For a moment, panic threatened to consume me like a tidal wave. But then I remembered something, and I drove to my new apartment across town. It was a small place I'd rented the week before, 1 bedroom with thin walls and a view of the parking lot behind a strip mall. The rent was $800 a month, which would eat through my $50,000 pretty quickly. This was my life now at 72 years old, minus efficiency apartment that smelled like carpet cleaner and the previous tenant's cigarettes. I made instant coffee with shaking hands and sat at the tiny kitchen table that came with the furnished place. The silence was deafening. After 45 years of sharing a home with someone, I forced myself to breathe slowly, to think clearly about what I had left. What did I have left? I walked to my old filing cabinet, one of the few things I'd managed to take from the house before Dorothy changed the locks. I'd always been a meticulous record keeper, something that had driven Dorothy crazy over the years. Every receipt, every bank statement, every document from our 45 years together was organized in manila folders with neat labels. Dorothy used to tease me about it, especially in the early years when money was tight and storage space was precious. Harold and his filing system, she'd laugh when friends came over and saw my organized boxes. He could find a receipt from 1982 if you asked him to. I could indeed. I spent that entire night going through files, my back aching from hunching over the small table, my eyes burning from the dim lamp overhead. But I kept searching through decades of paperwork, looking for something I remembered but couldn't quite place, and slowly, carefully, I found them, not just receipts. Something much better: letters. Dozens of letters from the early years of the business, back when we were scraping by and every customer mattered. Letters to suppliers, to customers, to the bank when we needed our first loan, all signed Harold and Dorothy Mitchell, co-owners. Business proposals where I was listed as partner, not employee. Insurance documents naming me as co-owner for liability purposes. Tax returns from 1983 to 1989 where the business income was reported jointly on our personal returns. These were from before Dorothy's accountant convinced her to restructure everything in her name alone in 1990. Back when we trusted each other completely and never imagined we'd need to prove who had built what. And then, at the bottom of a folder marked Business, Original Documents, I found it. The original business registration from 1983, filed with the state of Connecticut. R&D Mitchell Auto Parts, owned by Harold Mitchell and Dorothy Mitchell. My name was right there in faded typewriter ink, equal to hers, proving I'd been a founding partner from day one. Dorothy had filed papers to change it to her name alone in 1990. But this original registration proved beyond any doubt that I'd been there from the beginning, that I'd helped build everything she was now trying to steal. My hands stopped shaking. The next morning, I called a different lawyer. I'd heard about Victor Anderson through a friend whose brother had used him in a messy divorce case. Victor had a reputation in Connecticut, expensive, aggressive, and known for winning cases everyone else thought were hopeless. His office was in downtown Hartford, in one of those glass buildings that scream success. "I'd like to schedule a consultation," I said when his secretary answered. "It's regarding a divorce settlement. Mr. Anderson's calendar is quite full." Came the crisp reply, "We might have an opening next month." I have original business registration documents proving joint ownership of a $2 million company that my wife claims she built alone. I also have evidence she's been hiding assets, and I signed away everything yesterday, but the papers haven't been filed yet. There was a long pause. "Can you be here at 2 p.m. today?" Victor Anderson was about 50 with silver hair and sharp gray eyes that seemed to miss nothing. His corner office overlooked the Hartford skyline, with law books lining the walls and awards scattered on the shelves. He listened while I explained everything. The affair, Dorothy's threats, my signing the papers yesterday, and the cardboard box of evidence I'd brought with me. He went through my files for 45 minutes without speaking, occasionally making notes on a yellow legal pad. I watched him examine the original business registration, the early letters, the tax returns. Finally, he leaned back in his leather chair and studied me. "Mr. Mitchell, do you know what you've done?" My heart sank. Here it comes, I thought. The lecture about how stupid I'd been, how I'd thrown away my future. Made a terrible mistake? No. A slow smile crossed his face, the first genuine smile I'd seen in weeks. "You've given yourself the perfect position." I stared at him. "What do you mean? You signed under duress with inadequate legal representation and without full disclosure of marital assets. More importantly, you signed yesterday, but the papers haven't been filed with the court yet. Did Dorothy's lawyer say when they'd file?" "She said they needed to process everything. Maybe next week." Perfect. He tapped my original business registration with his finger. "This document alone changes everything. And you said Dorothy told you the house and business were solely in her name because you'd never contributed." "Yes, right in front of her lawyer. Even better. That's called fraudulent concealment." His smile widened. "Mr. Mitchell, you haven't lost anything. You've laid a trap, and your wife walked right into it." Victor didn't waste time. By the end of our 2-hour meeting, he'd outlined a strategy that made my head spin but gave me the first real hope I'd felt in months. First, we'd file a motion to set aside the settlement, claiming duress, inadequate representation, and failure to disclose assets. But the key was we weren't just playing defense, we were going on the attack. "We're filing for forensic accounting of the business," he explained, leaning forward across his desk. "We're going to examine every transaction for the past 10 years with a microscope. If Dorothy's been hiding money, moving assets, or using business funds for personal expenses related to her affair, we'll find it." The next morning, Victor filed the paperwork. The courthouse was only a few blocks from his office, and I imagined Dorothy's shock when she found out what we'd done. Sure enough, her lawyer Carol Davis called Victor by noon, her voice apparently furious according to what he told me later. "She wants to know what you think you're doing," Victor said when he called me at my apartment. I told her my client reconsidered after discovering evidence of asset concealment and marital fraud. I also informed her we'll be deposing Mrs. Mitchell about the business finances and her relationship with one Rachel Carter. I caught my breath. You know her last name. I know everything now, Mr. Mitchell. Rachel Carter, 34 years old, works as a medical equipment sales representative for a company that supplies products to various businesses, including yours. They've been seeing each other for approximately 3 years. Your wife has been paying for an apartment for her in West Hartford using business funds. 3 years. While I'd been at home planning our retirement, puttering in the garage, thinking about grandchildren and travel, Dorothy had been building a whole separate life. The betrayal hit me fresh, like a physical blow. Are you all right? Victor asked gently. Yes, I said, and was surprised to find it was true. The initial shock had passed, replaced by something colder and more determined. What happens next? Next, we wait for them to make a move. And Mr. Mitchell, they will make a move. Dorothy thought she had everything sewn up perfectly. Now she's going to panic, and people make mistakes when they panic. Victor was right. 2 days later, my phone rang at 7 in the morning. I was sitting at my small kitchen table with instant coffee and yesterday's newspaper when I saw Dorothy's name on the caller ID. I almost didn't answer. We hadn't spoken since the night she'd walked out, but curiosity won Harold. Her voice was tight, controlled, but I could hear the strain underneath. We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you, Dorothy. You hired Victor Anderson. She spat his name like a curse word. What are you trying to do? The settlement was fair. Fair. I almost laughed, but it came out as more of a snort. You tried to steal everything I helped build over 45 years of marriage. You called $50,000 fair for half a lifetime of work. You signed the papers under duress with incomplete information. My new lawyer explained that to your lawyer, didn't he? There was silence on the other end. For so long I thought she'd hung up. When Dorothy finally spoke again, her voice had lost its certainty. Those papers don't mean anything. I restructured the business legally in 1990. After I'd worked there for 7 years as co-owner. My lawyer is very interested in why you restructured it. And he's even more interested in the apartment you've been paying for in West Hartford using business funds. Dorothy, that's called embezzlement. You can't prove. I can prove everything. I have 45 years of records, Dorothy, every bank statement, every receipt, every document. You used to laugh at my filing system. You're not laughing now, are you? Another long silence. When she spoke again, her voice had changed completely. It was harder, colder, and I heard the real Dorothy for the first time, not the woman I'd loved, but the stranger she'd become. You're making a mistake, Harold. You're going to regret this. The only thing I regret is trusting you. I hung up. 3 weeks later, the forensic accountant's report arrived. Victor called me to his office, and I could hear the satisfaction in his voice before I even sat down in the chair across from his desk. Mr. Mitchell, your instincts were correct. Dorothy has been systematically siphoning money from the business for years. He slid a thick document across to me. Over the past 3 years alone, she's diverted approximately $285,000 to personal use. Almost all of it related to her affair with Rachel Carter. I stared at the numbers laid out in black and white. Luxury hotel stays at the Marriott and Hilton downtown. Designer jewelry from Tiffany and Cartier. Apartment rent for a place I'd never seen. Even a car, a BMW she'd registered in Rachel's name using our business address. She used our business, I said slowly, the words feeling strange in my mouth. The business we built together to fund her affair. That's not all, Victor continued. She's also been undervaluing the business in her financial disclosures. She claimed it's worth $1.2 million. Our analysis shows it's closer to $3 million based on inventory, customer base, and revenue streams. That afternoon, Victor filed an amended complaint, adding charges of financial fraud and misappropriation of marital assets. He also requested an emergency freeze on all business accounts and Dorothy's personal accounts until the matter was resolved. The trial began on a cold December morning. I sat beside Victor in the courthouse on Capitol Avenue, watching Dorothy and Carol Davis enter through the heavy wooden doors. Rachel wasn't there. She'd been subpoenaed to testify but was scheduled for later in the week. Judge Beverly Richards presided, a woman in her early 60s with sharp eyes and silver hair pulled back in a bun. Victor had told me she had a reputation for being fair but absolutely unforgiving when it came to dishonesty. Over the next 3 days, Victor methodically built our case like he was constructing a brick wall. He presented the original 1983 business registration, showing both our names as owners. He showed letters and documents from the 1980s and early 1990s where Dorothy herself had referred to the business as ours and had listed me as co-owner. Albert Gibson, our former employee who'd worked for us for 20 years, testified about my role in the business. Harold Mitchell ran the day-to-day operations. He said firmly from the witness stand. He handled inventory management, supplier relationships, customer service issues. Dorothy handled the books and the business side, but Harold was the one who kept everything running smoothly. Everyone who worked there knew it. Then came the forensic accountant, Judith Taylor, a serious woman in her 50s who walked Judge Richards through Dorothy's financial irregularities with devastating precision. Over the past 3 years, Mrs. Mitchell diverted approximately $285,000 from business accounts to personal use. She testified, referring to her notes. This includes $55,000 for apartment rent, $78,000 in luxury purchases, including jewelry and vacations, $45,000 for a vehicle registered to Rachel Carter. All of these expenditures were related to her extramarital relationship. I watched Dorothy's face as the numbers were read aloud in open court. She looked pale, almost sick. When Rachel testified the next day, she was clearly uncomfortable in a blue dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Victor was gentle with her at first, then asked the question that changed everything. Miss Carter, were you aware that Mrs. Mitchell was using business funds to pay for your apartment and gifts? Rachel's face went bright red. Victor showed her a text message recovered from Dorothy's phone records during discovery. This is a text you sent Mrs. Mitchell 8 months ago. Can you read it aloud? It says, "Thanks for the bracelet, babe. Hope Harold doesn't mind you spending business money on me. LOL." The courtroom was completely silent. Judge Richards delivered her ruling on a Friday afternoon exactly 2 weeks after the trial began. This is one of the clearest cases of marital fraud I've encountered in my 18 years on the bench. She began, her voice carrying clearly through the packed courtroom. The evidence is overwhelming that Harold Mitchell was a co-founder and equal partner in R&D Mitchell Auto Parts. Mrs. Mitchell's attempt to erase his contributions and claim sole ownership is not only dishonest, it's legally fraudulent. The judge looked directly at Dorothy. Mrs. Mitchell systematically embezzled marital assets to fund an extramarital affair, then deliberately undervalued the business in her financial disclosures. Therefore, I'm awarding Mr. Mitchell $2.6 million, approximately 65% of the total marital assets. 6 months later, I stood in the kitchen of my new home, a comfortable colonial about 20 minutes from where Dorothy and I used to live. It was smaller than our old house, but it was mine, truly mine. I'd bought it for $340,000 cash and still had plenty left over for a secure retirement. At 73, I'd learned something important. It's never too late to stand up for yourself. Never. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting angry. It's staying calm and letting the truth speak for itself. Keep your records, trust your gut, and remember that cheaters always underestimate the people they betray.